Hello, everyone. Welcome. It is the Our Turf Football Podcast. I am your host, Dana OG. Tonight, we got a lot to cover tonight. So if you're hanging with us, you're going to have to be here a minute because we got some stuff going on. Lisa's phone, you can hear it. She's got breaking news. She's so excited to tell us. But at the same time, we are going to try and look at the entire league. It's a big task. All right. We get it. It's a big task, but there's some stuff we got to talk about. And if you try and break it down, it would take us 4 shows to get all the way through it all. So we're just going to do it. But joining me, Lisa, as always, Kate, as always, Sonia stuck in traffic, and we're just going to let her be for tonight. But joining us, and we're so excited to have her. Our favorite, Wanda, is back. Wanda was a member of the Our Turf Life for so long.
Yes.
We're so happy to have her back. And Wanda Wiedman, she is our resident Bears. I'm going to call you an expert, expert. I don't know how to, I was going to come up with a clever word and I couldn't even get there. Wanda, how are you?
I'm good. I'm good.
That is awesome. I wish your Bears were doing a little better, but we're going to talk about that here in just a few minutes. But before we get to Lisa's breaking news, I want to do this.
Oh, hey now.
There we go.
Okay.
You see that?
Wow.
You see it? Isn't it pretty? Do you know what that's for? Do you know what that's for? Lisa, what's that crown for?
I don't know. I was on a bye this week.
Because I kicked your ever-loving ass in
Dude, I had everybody on a bye. Everybody on a bye. But my quarterback still kicked your quarterback's ass.
What? At least you set your lineup.
Oh, I was struggling to set that lineup. God, it was every one of my players were on bye.
One of the guys in my work league didn't even look and didn't know, and he had 3 players. I beat him like 158-40, and I'm like, no crying. He's like, why don't you text me? And I'm like, yeah, because I'm stupid. If you don't set your lineup, that's on you.
It's your own deal. It's your own deal, right? Here's the thing. I am in first place in the Our Turf Football Fantasy Football League right now.
For now.
First place.
I'm not in the bottom. I am not in the bottom. I actually won this week, so I'm not in the bottom.
I'm so proud of you. Yeah, I'm killing it. And the reason I decided to pull out the crown this week is because I killed it with Jimmy Garoppolo as my quarterback. I have Kirk Cousins is on a bye. Russell Wilson's still injured. Sure, Jimmy, whatever. Give me your piddly 12 points, whatever you got to do, but that's okay.
It was crazy.
Because the Buccaneers defense gave me 30 points. Yes, thank you. All right, I will put my crown away, but I'll pull it out again at the end of the season. Just letting you know. It's coming. It's coming, people. All right, everyone. What is the breaking news from the Dolphins, Lisa?
Oh, my goodness. This just won't ever go away. And I think that this will clarify, and this might just actually make some of these things clear up here. Barry Jackson, the Miami Herald, is reporting the Houston Chronicle has reported the Dolphins and Texans have agreed on the trade terms for Deshaun Watson. Ugh. All right. Now, here's what that means. What that means is they have a deal on the table. The lagging part of this deal is that Ross wants still clarification on the legal issues. Goodell came out and said today that the NFL isn't intervening until criminal charges stem down, and then they'll start their investigation. So what this means, absolutely nothing has changed. The Dolphins have always had the deal on the table.
Right.
All this tells us now is the deal will probably stay verbal until after the trade deadline, because nothing's going to get done clearly in time for the trade deadline.
But how then he can't come this year then?
He won't come this year. He'll come possibly next year. But what that tells you, Dana, is that the Dolphins are indeed interested in Deshaun Watson. To me, with the legal issues pending, that gives the Dolphins a year under Tua to see exactly what they got. It kind of rolls out perfect for them to see, because it's not going to be an official trade until next year, obviously. That'll give the Dolphins a whole season under Tua to see if there's something at the end of the season that they might do, depending on these legal outcomes, on kind of what happens as far as clarifications of how many games he'll serve suspended. I mean, you have to honestly think, with the way the NFL has played the Big Ben incident with Pittsburgh, 6 games for 1 infraction. You know, he's got 22, 10 that are criminal. So you would have to think that there's going to be some kind of penalty system.
God love you, John. That's hilarious. Watts may be playing the Texas Penal League next year.
Could be.
Yes,
I doubt that, but
well, Lisa, this is what I'm hearing you tell me. Nothing is different.
No, nothing has changed. The only thing
when Watson
that's changing,
gets traded, he'll be traded to Miami. If Miami doesn't decide they want to keep Tua because he improves this year, or if he doesn't get legal fees, so nothing's different.
Nothing's different, but yet the rumors are just going to keep swirling. But it's just like Jeff Darlington said all along, and I've always rode with Jeff, is nothing is going to get done before the trade deadline. So whatever offers are on the table, fine. Okay, we can deal with Watson in principle. This is what we'll give you. The deal's on the table. End of the story. Until Ross and pretty much every owner of every 32 team is not going to make a trade for a guy that has that much on over his head.
No.
It's just ridiculous.
And I said that earlier. I was in another podcast, the NFL UK podcast that I did. We said the exact same thing. It would be asinine to waste that many first-round picks on someone you don't know is ever going to play again. Exactly.
But when you read that, it's like, okay, yes, we've always had the deal on the table. Nothing has changed. We had the deal on the table a month ago. So it's like, but like I said, every owner in the NFL is going to want some assurance of what's going to happen. And they're billionaires. Trust me, Ross knows what's going to happen. He's got a good understanding. These guys, understand. Ross was down here for the Shula thing. They spent 2 hours in a room by themselves. He works for Ross. So if Ross asks him a question, he has to answer. So the Dolphins know the pending outcome. So I just, per Barry Jackson, just getting everything riled up again. It's like, this is a deal that has been agreed upon.
Done. Quit talking about Carolina. Quit talking about, these other teams. This is a done deal. Right. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get rolling with our show a little bit here. So we have brought Wanda on today for many reasons, mostly because we missed her and we like to see her cute little. Oh, I'm sorry, Kate. Hi, how are you, honey?
I just had a question.
Yes,
because we usually start the show with show of hands.
Yes.
Whose football team won this week?
Not mine.
I'd like to thank Donkeys.
You didn't play, did you?
Cheesesteak that were delivered to me and my Browns. That's powered us through Thursday. Thank you, Donkeys.
Did you really order cheesesteaks?
No, but I would have. I totally would have. Because cheesesteaks are for winners. And apparently I'm the only one here who should have got a cheesesteak this week.
Shut up.
Listen, I 1 in 31. I survived 1 in 31. I get to take my couple moments when
I thought you guys had a bye week this week. Did you have a bye week?
We played Thursday night. We played Denver.
Oh, that's right. It was Thursday.
That's right. We forget about Thursday games on Sundays.
Very weird
I know, because it's already
Shout out to Donkeys.
Well, we should shout out to Donkeys. Donkeys Cheesesteaks, our sponsor for the podcast for the entire season. We are so grateful to them. Check them out. Their 3 locations are in, Lisa?
Medford, Camden, and their brand new location in Mount Holly.
That's right. So check them out in New Jersey. Best cheesesteak in the world, not just New Jersey. Okay, everybody. So now let's start. Thank you for interrupting me and reminding me. I got off my sheet because Lisa was talking too much. Okay, so
breaking news.
Some things haven't changed.
There's no breaking news. It was the same damn thing.
Exactly. That's why I was trying to calm everybody down.
It wasn't breaking news. It was distract you from complaining about how Tua played news.
Oh.
Aww.
It's probably true. All right. So back to Wanda. We are so grateful to have Wanda on with us. We love her insight that she gives us into the Bears. And Wanda, my first question to you, this was not the season you envisioned, my friend.
No,
I know that for a fact.
It is not what I envisioned. This is so typical. It's so typical when you have a head coach that says, we're going to have a veteran. You have Andy Dalton. We're going to have him start. And we're going to have our rookie sit back, learn, get to know the system, and so on. Pressure comes. Everybody's going nuts, because it's not working out. So let's throw the rookie in. Regardless of how much training he needs, he'll figure it out. We'll just take off the training wheels, let him run amok. And we saw how that worked with Trubisky. And now you're going to do the same thing with a talented young man. Mm-hmm. And just, it was something that Dan Orlovsky, I love this guy. But he says it's impossible to evaluate a player when everything around him is poorly done. And for instance, Jason Peters comes out today in the press conference and buries what Nagy's been hiding and everybody else has been hiding. He first says that the tackle that was out there, Latavius Simmons, had not even practiced that position before being thrown out there, and is supposed to stand up against JPP and I think it was Bartlett.
Mm-hmm.
So he's now double teamed by these two guys, can't hold him. And Jason Peters then, I mean, it's been weeks and weeks and weeks when the same reporters ask Nagy the same question. When is Tevin Jenkins come back, the rookie? When is Larry Borom coming back, the rookie? And it's always the same answer. They're on the arrow's up, and that's all you would get. Then there was silence. Jason Peters comes out and says he's been training these guys, and Larry Borom most likely will be playing next week, or this week actually.
Mm-hmm.
And Jenkins is a little bit farther down the road. He says he's got a little bit more he's got to master. So he's obviously working with him. I would take Jason Peters' word over all the garbage that's been put out, because you've got no truth coming out in the way that the play calling has been coming out. The run game, we had at one point some balance, and that was out the window. I just don't even know what to say about this team or what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
But when you have a former Bears player such as Olin Kreutz, who comes out and he's basically like ready to punch somebody because he doesn't understand where the pride of the Bears top brass is. Can you imagine Papa Hallis right now seeing the way that this team is?
Right.
He would be beside himself. That's not football.
Would.
This is not football. This is, just, I don't know what.
Yeah. This is interesting. John in our live chat has said Matt Nagy won NFL Coach of the Year in 2018. We need to let that sink in for a minute. And I agree. The question here is you can never blame a losing football team on one person, right?
Right.
But Nagy just seems, oddly enough, to be completely lost.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's quarterback shuffle. I don't know if it's injury. I don't know what it is. But Kate, don't you feel that way? I mean, he just seems to be like, hell if I know. You know what I mean? Like, it's weird.
Yeah, and I was going to ask Wanda, is that where there's a disconnect? There's a problem. Is it front office? Is it coaching? Because it's not. You're right, Dan. It's not just one thing. But he doesn't. I read that comment from John, and I let it sink in, and I'm like, I'm in Cleveland. I've been through my share of head coaches. I have seen a lot of confusion on the sidelines, but never from someone who was coach of the year a couple short seasons ago. I don't understand what broke or disconnected in his head that this is what we've got. It's very bizarre to watch. Maybe, I haven't heard anything, but maybe he's got some personal life issues going on that no one knows. It's very strange.
In the beginning of in that 2018 season, okay, or 16 season, whichever it was, I think it was 18. And when he had all these plays, it was everybody saw a picture of his office, and he had all his plays up on the wall that were just, he had all these gadget plays and all these plays that just kind of put them where it was exciting to watch. And then after that, it was like he kind of like sat there and said, I got nothing. And
right.
Just kind of, that's really what it looks like. It's like, I got nothing. I don't know. Do you got nothing? Hey, Bill, you got something for me over here? And it's just, it's really disheartening because there's so much talent on this team. and not being utilized the way that they can be.
Is he a one-hit wonder? Like, those people who write one book or they have one song. Like, did he have one season in him of all these innovative new things, and now he just doesn't have any other ideas on what to do?
I mean, even simple. I mean, if you even simple screens. I mean, come on. There's got to be, when you're looking compared with the play action that Mac Jones, it was something like 30, and then and then you have I can't remember who else it was, Trevor Lawrence, and it was something like 26, and here you have Justin Fields at 16. Why aren't you giving? I mean, we saw Justin Fields play for Ohio State. That kid can ball out, right? And to see that being wasted right now because you don't know what you're doing, it's either it really goes up to the top brass. And I'm going to say right here, it's really top brass. And when you look at an inherited team that's gone down to the McCaskies, who aren't really football savvy in the way that their grandfather was, or uncle, however, wherever that was, it's kind of lost. So the people that they're placing in there, how many coaches have we gone to? How many offensive coordinators have we gone through? It's like, find that piece that's going to work and build this team where there is excitement behind it, because the players are doing their best to try to keep that in-house, but it's leaking, ladies. It's coming out, and they're spitting it out, and they're letting you know in their way. He may be saying, hey, we're all working together and everything's great, but their demeanor and the way that they're speaking doesn't say it or show it.
What, Lisa?
What I kind of wanted to go over and talk about that, as going back to Nagy, was the Bears fans that came out during the preseason when the Bills sat Allen and started Mitch. Mitch looked like a different quarterback. I mean, he's actually kind of raised a couple eyebrows, where I think Mitch is going to get some shots next year to be a starting quarterback again, because I think, it all got put on Mitch, and Mitch got shipped out of Chicago, where when you look at Mitch under the Bills coaching staff, he looked like a first-round quarterback. I mean, I kind of even thought he had a lot of similarities to Josh Allen running that Bills offense. So it kind of makes you wonder, about Nagy now, and if this quarterback carousel that he's getting himself into, with Dalton's our starter. Nope, we're going to Fields. Nope, I'm not telling you who's starting. Well, yep, we're going back to Fields. It's the inconsistencies in the coaching staff is really starting to show with the Bears.
Well, we've talked about this with other quarterbacks too. Look at Sam Darnold and how he's playing this year compared to where he was at with the Jets. If they're in the wrong system, we could just start listing quarterbacks right now who went to another team that wasn't as bad. And let's face it, those teams who are drafting quarterbacks top 5 are bad teams. You have to either let them sit or you have to give them time. And instead, I think we're breaking some of these young quarterbacks by rushing them in too soon and forcing them to play in a bad system. Whereas I love Mitch Trubisky. He's a local kid for us Clevelanders. He went to high school here in Manor. So we were all excited when he got drafted by the Bears and couldn't wait to see him play. And then we were all like, crap, wish he could have sat a year. So it's nice to see how well he's doing on a better team. But you run the risk of breaking Fields now if they can't. At least simplify the playbook and do the things that he's good at, and at least keep him from getting hurt until you can figure out what else you need, from a weapon standpoint.
Right.
Yeah. And, we could spend a lot more time on this, but we have to move on. But I think that, Wanda, what we're going to do is we're going to have you back on toward the end of the season, see the changes that have been made, all of that thing, and see kind of the trajectory they took toward the end of the year as hopefully it will be up for you. All right.
Exactly.
So let's move on. I said this week that I wanted to talk about the whole league, and that sounds a little overwhelming. But really what I want to do is we are not quite halfway through the season, 8.5 weeks this time. So I think that it's a good time to kind of take a look. We have always said after, you need 4 to 5 weeks, 5 to 6 weeks to even really know what a team is. We're in week 7 now. We know who these teams are. We know where they're at. So I want to kind of take a look, and we're going to start. First, we're going to start with the AFC. So I'm going to run through these real quick. We'll go back over them here in just a little bit. So in the AFC East, we have the Bills at 4-2, the Patriots at 3-4, the Jets at 1-5, and the Dolphins at 1-5. We have the AFC West with the Raiders. Kate, if they win that division, I swear to God, I'm going to send you a present. I'm telling you. The Raiders at 5-2, the Chargers at 4-2, the Chiefs at 3-4, and the Broncos at 3-4. Then you have the AFC North with the Bengals sitting at 5-2, the Ravens at 5-2, the Browns at 4-3, and the Steelers at 3-3. And then you have the AFC South with the Titans at 5-2, the Colts at 3-4, the Jags at 1-5, and the Texans at 1-6. All right. Looking at these divisions and kind of where they are at right now in the AFC, I think early in the year, we really thought there was going to be 4-ish, 5 maybe powerhouse teams in the AFC, and the rest were miles behind them, right? So it hasn't really shaken out exactly like that. So, Kate, you and Lisa are in the AFC. You know it a little bit better. Of all of these teams and of all of these situations, what is the most surprising, good and bad, for you when it comes to the AFC? I mean, there's still some powerhouse teams, but they're not necessarily who we thought they were.
Well, and the easy answers for this division are the biggest surprise from a, oh my God, why are they bad standpoint is what's going on with the Kansas City Chiefs.
Sure.
They're a mess. Mm-hmm. And the biggest surprise from a good standpoint is the Cincinnati Bengals. I think the Bengals are going to come back down to earth, but the fact that they're 5-2, the fact that they took it to the Ravens hard this week.
No, it was so fun.
It was so much
Ravens
fun to watch. And as a fan of the Browns, and we got spanked pretty hard by the Cardinals a couple weeks ago, I get that there's going to be those weeks where you just have a bad week and you just get your butt handed to you. Mm-hmm. And so maybe that's what happened with the Ravens. But I think everyone is surprised that the Bengals are doing as well as they are, not because they don't have talent. So my grandson's bringing me water. Wave.
Thank you. Hi, sir.
We knew they had talent. They've just had issues the last few years putting things together and getting things to click. And you've got, Joe Burrow and the injury and how is he going to do? And they really seem to have, at least through 7 games, figured it out. And so when I'm looking at the schedule, they're no longer an easy win.
Right.
So they have just been the biggest surprise in how well they've done. And I have no answer for Kansas City. My husband's theory is that Pat Mahomes has been getting away with these crazy throws where he's getting hit and he's on the way down and he launches it and it gets caught. And he's just making these miracle throws. And that defenses have finally caught up to him and he's not getting away with that anymore. Mm-hmm. And when he makes things that are mistakes, they're costing him. I don't know what else is going on. They're 3-4 and they've lost to some bad teams and they've just looked bad. It's a very
so disjointed. I will tell you, the Chiefs fans are having a damn meltdown in the city. Like they thought they had the next Patriots dynasty. They really did. And not understanding how difficult and how rare that was. Right. It's fascinating to me that we are surprised about the Bengals because we didn't know who Joe Burrow was going to be, right? Did we? Like, he wasn't there. And so it was a question mark. I had a friend who said, hey, Dana, should I, get Burrow in fantasy football? I'm like, I mean, why not? We don't know what the hell he's going to do, right? So it'll be interesting to see, how it turns out. And it turns out to be great.
Yeah, I needed a backup. So he started for me this week, did really well. I think the key to his success, and we saw a lot of teams do this in the draft, is there were quite a few teams who drafted wide receivers that had gone to college with their quarterbacks and getting him Jamar Chase, who he was familiar with, gave him that he's a whoopee wide receiver, we call him. He's a security blanket. He just helped him with his confidence coming back from that injury to have someone that he knew that well. and some other teams have done that, and it hasn't paid off as well yet for them. But I think that has been huge in Joe Burrow's confidence and his sophomore year here in the league.
Right. Lisa, I have to say that if I was surprised about anything, it's that the Raiders are sitting at the top of the NFC or the AFC West. Like, I'm just like, I thought it was going to be the Chiefs and the Chargers and the Chiefs and the Chargers, right? Like, that's who it was going to be. And that's, we were going to go back and forth between the two of them. Brilliant Kate obviously was like, the Raiders are winning the division. And we all laughed at her. I mean, we did.
The Chargers are going to win the division. Raiders aren't going to win the division. Chargers are still going to win the division.
I don't know that that's true, but tell me why you think that.
Just because, like I said, I think the Chargers have the total package. I think they're the running game. I think when you shut Burrow down, when you shut Chase down for a game, you're going to see it. I think the Ravens just had that one game that we just talked about. When you look at the AFC, Joe Burrow was the real deal coming out of college. Everybody knew that. He just injuries. The Chiefs, I told you from the beginning of the season, the Chiefs' biggest Achilles is going to be their offensive line. And I said that from the beginning. This offensive line is terrible. And everybody, when people start realizing that offensive lines will win you football games, then these teams will start putting it together. They showed it. They got exposed big time. And now it's Mahomes is just like Brady. You put pressure on him. Those throws aren't going to work out all the time. You're not going to be able to wing that throw up or look this way and throw that way and have them work out. And I think that's, like Kate said, that's what you're seeing. He made those lucky throws. And, the NFL is a game of margins. It's sometimes you're on the right end of it.
The millimeters.
Yep. And sometimes you're on the bad end of it. And we certainly know that sitting at 1-6, we're just on the bad end of those. Sometimes those field goals go through, sometimes they don't. So it's just a game of margins. I think the Chiefs right now, the offensive line, but the Bengals, like you said, the familiar with Chase was clearly the right move. And, they're for real. They're good. We're going to see this connection for a long time, but they still need to add a running game. I'm still on these teams that don't have running games. That's why I think when you see this whole big picture, the team that's going to stand out the best is the Tennessee Titans. I'm going to tell you right now. Because
but Lisa, wait, let me stop you there. Because here's my thing. If they keep making Derrick Henry run like that, they're going to get him injured or burned out by the end of the season. They have got to find something else.
Yeah, but when you see running backs, they want you to feed them the ball. I mean, this guy is, I don't know. He doesn't look like he's slowing down. And
well, no, but it's
you don't want an injury, but
17 games. Do you know what I mean? Like,
it's ground and pound football.
Didn't they say he's on pace for like 40 touchdowns or something freaking ridiculous? You can't do that. The quarterbacks do that, not running backs. I love running backs. You know that. I love it because they take the ball out of the quarterback's hands, and that makes me happy. But the thing of it is that I think that they have to find something else, or you're going to get into even the playoffs. And that's going to be, they just can't keep doing it.
Emmitt Smith did it for years. Walter Payton did it for years. I mean, when you look at running back
for a touchdown this week, apparently he wants to be a quarterback.
He did throw it. You're right.
Eventually, defenses are going to put 10 men in the box and say, find another way to beat us. Their defenses are going to shut him down, especially in his division. And they're going to force them to use another weapon, and they don't have a lot of them.
Look what happened.
Brown's coming out to be a pretty good receiver. I mean, he's I don't know. I think the Tennessee Titans are going to be, the ones to look. I look at total teams. I look at, teams that have the total package. They have the offensive line. They have the running back. They have the weapons to go to. What do we have right now? What are we talking about? Burrow's a chase. That's all we're talking about. So. I don't know. So
yeah. Hey, I just want you to know that Katie agrees with me. There you go. Let's not kill Derek. I just want to know if somebody agrees with me. All right. So here's the thing, Wanda. We've talked a lot. There's a lot of good that the Colts have looked better, even with Carson Wentz. I've been kind of impressed with what they're doing there. That was fun. The Texans are exactly who we thought they were. I think they'll get a little better with Tyrod Taylor, but not. We're not going to the playoffs. You know what I mean? But better, maybe. We'll see. And then the Patriots.
Interesting.
Look at you, New England Patriots. That they're a little bit better too. I've been pretty impressed with them. But I want to go back really quick to Patrick Mahomes, and I don't like to be a dead horse, but I want to go back to him because there was something that both Lisa and Kate said, and they said that the defenses have figured him out. Or that's what her husband thinks. Kate's husband thinks. Here's what I think they've figured out. They figured out that when he looks one way, he's probably throwing the other because he did all those trick plays. He got picked off twice doing those trick plays because the defenses now cover it. I think it's more the scheme and his little Superman, I am invincible, stick that he did forever. And, the stupid commentators losing their minds over stuff that quarterbacks have been doing forever, but apparently it was new with Patrick Mahomes. But so I think that I think that that's what they figured out. That and the fact that they have no.
The secret is watching their hands. It's like I had a brother-in-law who was in prison. He says, and when you have to fight in prison, you never look at them in the eyes. You look at their fists. You look at where their hands are because that's where where it's coming. It's the same way with the defenses. They've now figured out. You know what? We don't have to look at his eyes. We just look at his hands. We know where the ball's going that way. We'll just follow that, and they're figuring it out. Plus the fact the RPO has been so overused.
God, no kidding. So sick of the RPOs.
Right. It's been so overused with Mahomes. They caught on to that too. Mm-hmm. So that's been so outplayed. It's like, what else do you got? And
it's true because RPOs have also ruined offensive lines. And that is
Mahomes
a great
now at that point where figure out how
I think we might have lost Wanda, but I think that there we got you back, Wanda. So yeah, I think it's real interesting that's the way people are seeing Mahomes right now. Is he's not invincible. He is not. You can beat him. And once a team gets that in their head, like once the opponents say, "Oh, we can beat him," a lot of times they do. It's hard for them. All right, let's move on to the NFC. So much to talk about. Lord, so much to talk about. All right, so in the NFC East, we have the Cowboys at 5-1, the Washington football team at 2-5, the Eagles at 2-5, the Giants at 2-5. The Cowboys are running
NFC East,
right?
Cowboys, jeez. NFC West, with the Cardinals at 7-0, the league's only undefeated team. The Rams at 6-1, the Niners at 2-4, and the Seahawks at 2-5. You have the NFC North with the Packers at 6-1, the Vikings 3-3, the Bears 3-4, and the Lions, the only no-win team left in the league at 0-7. Then you have the NFC South with the Buccaneers at 6-1, the Saints at 4-2, the Falcons 3-3, and the Panthers at 3-4.
How Seahawks fans missing Russell now, huh?
I have to do the real Hawk Talk tomorrow. I have to do the Hawk Blogger podcast tomorrow, and let me tell you, it's going to be an interesting one.
And
let me tell you this.
And it's not that Gino didn't play bad. He just had those crucial mistakes at the.
That's playing bad, Lisa.
I know.
That's bad play. I mean, you can only pat Geno Smith on the head for so long. He is making some horrible decisions.
He did.
And the thing of it is, and then your kicker misses 2 field goals. I mean, you lose by 3. I know. Don't get me started. Okay. Anyways, I'm a little. Yeah. So Russell Wilson, I can guarantee will be back by the Green Bay game. I guarantee it. He's so pissed on the sidelines last night that it was just woof. It was a mess. All right, but let's talk about the good teams first. So, Wanda, I'm going to ask you, of all the teams sitting in the first place in their division, so the Cowboys, the Cardinals, the Packers, and the Bucks, are any of those surprises to you?
I haven't seen Wanda move.
Oh, did Wanda?
It's kind of like I'm watching the Speed movie, where they at the end when they do the tape and want to.
Poor Wanda. She was having a hard time. Okay, so Kate, let me go ahead and ask you, of all of those teams sitting in first place, were there any that are a surprise to you?
The Cardinals, but I mean, I knew they'd be good. I did not think they'd be undefeated.
Right.
It's just, and I've looked back at their games, and we got into a shootout with them, and they've been in a couple of those. of all of those teams, that was not who I thought. And frankly, I'm glad Michelle's not here this week. I didn't think the Cowboys would be at the top of that division either. They've managed to figure out some problems. And
number one, Dak Prescott. They paid him.
Yeah.
They paid him.
Dakota got paid. So
Dakota.
Yes.
She'd be proud.
He did. I have to say too that I still sticking with the NFC East. I didn't expect that division to be so top heavy. I really thought the Eagles would be in there fighting it a little bit more, getting in there a little bit. I really thought Washington's defense would be really difficult for teams and that they would struggle. So to see the rest of that division at 2-5, that's the surprise of that division to me. Not necessarily the Cowboys weren't going to be good because we knew they would be as long as Dak stayed healthy. But I'm just as surprised at the other ones.
Gap.
Yeah.
There's a big gap. Yes, there's a big gap.
Yeah.
I didn't expect that. I was
the only other real surprising thing for me in the NFC, frankly, is Carolina, who started off the season 3-0.
Red hot.
And are
red
on
hot.
a 4-game slide, and they've lost to, the Eagles, the Vikings, and then the Giants. I mean, it's what happened to that team who was gangbusters and coming out the gate?
They have tape on them.
I remember talking about them after our week 3 podcast about they were undefeated and they were looking good, and they've lost 4 in a row.
Yeah,
4 in a row.
4 in a row.
Yes. Yeah, that's a hard slide. You got to put a stop to that at some point for sure.
Well, they get Atlanta this week, but they just lost to the Giants, so I don't even know that I can give them a win against Atlanta until they actually play them.
If Sam Darnold plays like he did against the Giants, they're not going to win, and they're going to be in a world of hurt again. Because
he put up, 3 points?
Yeah, and he got benched. It wasn't that he was hurt. It wasn't that he just got benched. He was once again, he's regressed. I mean, he started out with a bang, and then all of a sudden, here we go, backsliding. And young quarterbacks. I mean, every game you got just, and Dana hit it on spot with the Patriots. Patriot fans are just sitting back because they are doing everything perfect, as Bill Belichick always does with this franchise. Just going to sit back, let Matt learn, let Jones learn. Here we go. What is the difference between the Patriots, Bengals, everybody else with quarterbacks, Chicago too? No, nobody talks about Matt Jones in New England. Regardless of how bad he plays, nobody talks about it. It's just okay.
You know who's talking about Mac Jones? The San Francisco 49er fans.
Oh,
who are real pissed right now.
Right. Good point. Pissed. Good point. Point.
that they took Trey Lance, who they billed as the second coming. Right. And they turn around and now they're still stuck with Jimmy Garoppolo and Trey Lance is hurt and they could have had Mac Jones. And so that is who's talking about Mac Jones, or those teams that went over the top of him. We have to give Belichick some credit for that because he is a fantastic quarterback, developing quarterbacks. But it is those teams that skipped him that are now looking back and going, damn it. And hindsight is 2020. People, we get that, right? We understand that. But at the same time, that's who's kicking themselves right now. Are those 49ers fans are just pissed in general. They want the whole house burned down. They want the owner to sell. They're out. They are more out of control than Seattle fans are. And Lisa, you know how Seattle fans are right now. Yes. They're driving everybody crazy, right? And so, and understandably, it's been a shit year. But the 49ers fans, they're on fire and they want everything burned down. And so that is the interesting part. It always takes a couple of years. And Lisa, I know that you agree with this. And hi, Wanda, welcome back. I'm glad you're back. But but it's always interesting that you don't really know how these quarterbacks are going to work out for a few years. We know that. Unless they come in and just do the job. They are good from the get. And I think we are only seeing that really out of Mac Jones right now of all the rookie quarterbacks, which is really interesting. Yeah. I want to talk to you guys a little bit about the predictions. So at the beginning of the year, we had a lot of predictions. Lots. We're real good at that. If you guys don't know that about us. We like to make a lot of predictions and think we're smarter than everybody else. The one that's right so far is Kate and her Raiders.
Come on.
That one. I'm telling
Chargers
you.
hold that tiebreaker, though.
I'm going to ride that one good prediction, and we're going to forget that I picked Washington to win that division.
Right? Oh, my gosh. But what were some of the other the predictions? I'm not going to lie. I said that the Denver Broncos were going to be better than people thought, and I still think they are. I think if it wasn't for the injury bug that they have been hit with, I think that I never said they were going to the Super Bowl, people. Don't come at me with that. I just said they were going to be better.
Dana's
and I think
a lot of hats.
Yeah, she'd be like, Dana. But I think that we have seen quite a bit of improvement there. Is there any other predictions that you guys can remember that we had or that you thought that has been proven so wrong?
Oh, proven wrong?
Yeah. Real wrong.
I don't know. I think I was pretty spot on.
We're going to battle the Bills for that division.
No,
I really did.
You thought who?
I thought the Dolphins were going to battle the Bills for that division. I did not think 1-6.
Yeah.
Me neither.
Well, Wanda, is there any predictions that you had at the beginning of the season that has not turned out to be true? Maybe outside of the Bears? Because I'm sure you had quite a few for them.
Actually, well, I mean, I thought for sure that the Steelers were going to be a little bit better.
Okay.
But my surprise was I thought for sure, and I'm still pushing for the Browns because I still think the Browns have what they need. But I was actually surprised at some of the losses that the Browns had. That kind of shocked me a little bit because I really thought they were going to be very competitive and up there with a lot of wins, but I'm not sure what was going because I love Stefanski. I think he's great for the Browns. I just think there's weapons that they really need like badly.
He's taking a lot of criticism right now. They're criticizing the play calling. There's a lot of complaining going on. Obviously our problems have been injury related, largely, and it's Baker Mayfield. I mean, if you watch the Thursday night football game, apparently I can lose Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, and I can just pull Dearness Johnson off the bench, and he can get 150 yards, and we're in the running game.
That was a great story, by the way.
Yeah,
he's such a nice kid. He really is a very nice kid. I call him a kid, a nice young man. But I think Baker's shoulder injury has gone on longer than people knew. I hope and pray that he sits again this week and it gets healed because we're going to need him at the end of the year. And we have Pittsburgh this week, and Case Keenum is a perfectly adequate game manager when you have a running game. We got Jarvis Landry and OBJ back, and they're healthy, and we're doing good. So I would like Baker to sit for another couple weeks. We'll let Case handle the Steelers.
You looked okay.
But I mean, the play calling, the complaints here are that we're not throwing the ball 40 and 60 yards. We're not taking advantage of the fact that Baker has, aside from that one Hail Mary to DPJ that was 60 yards, we're not expanding the field. So when you want to run, the way you do that is you got to expand the field so the defense backs up a little bit. If they know you're not throwing past 20, they've got everybody in tight to protect the run and the passing game. And so, but this is the way Stefanski runs his offense, which I think is another reason why Keenum will do fine, because they have a history together and he's picking things up quick. But I think, injuries has been the key for us, the same way it has, Dana, with Denver. They have 25 people on IR.
Oh, it's
more
insane.
Than anyone else. You can't.
Yeah, you just can't run a team that way.
Next man up doesn't go 25 deep.
He only goes 53 people deep, right?
But yet the fan base wants to blow it up and fire everybody.
I know. All right, so we have this comment. I thought Seattle would have a decent defense this year. I'm going to say that was my thought this year too. This is my prediction that was incorrect. I thought Seattle's defense, because of the way they ended last season, would pick that up and run right with it. And the first 4 or 5 games, it was the same disaster as before. I will tell you, though, if you go look at the numbers, the last couple of games, the Seattle defense is starting to pick back up. They're starting to look better. They're starting to play better. Unfortunately, they have Geno Smith as their quarterback during this time. That's why there's still a little bit of hope. People still a little bit of hope. But I think that was my biggest surprise, probably because I'm being a Seahawks fan, but also just because I really thought that would be a good continuation. The other prediction I got dead wrong. I know we keep talking about them, but I picked the Raiders to be last. And I'm telling you, I will say this, though. Never liked John Gruden. Have never liked John Gruden. You guys all
Never
know
have.
that about me.
I can vouch that you never did.
Never liked John Gruden. The fact that he's gone, well, I think will actually make that team even better and even a more difficult division. I have always said the NFC West is the most competitive division in the league. This year, it is the AFC West, without question. Yes, ma'am.
Do you think Seattle ever considered calling Cam Newton?
I will tell you this: the philosophy of John Snyder and the GM and Pete Carroll, the head coach, is you look at every single option on the board, no matter what, right? No matter what.
That's smart to me.
So it is smart.
Football.
It is just what they do. So did they reach out, see if he was vaccinated? Thank God he finally did that, and all of that stuff. Yeah, I think they did reach out to him. Was it ever an actual possibility? No, not for 3 games. I don't think that ever was it, for sure. Yeah, it's interesting. All right, you guys. So there's one game I want to talk about real quick.
I know which game it is.
You do?
Go Pack, go.
I'm telling you. I know Lisa listened in on a podcast I did earlier today, and I said this then. I'm going to say it again. I was so jacked because I really want the Cardinals to lose a game. Sorry, Cardinals fans.
Me too.
Me too.
Well, all of Miami.
Right?
Yeah, all of Miami, right?
Go Pack, go.
But I think that this could have been a good game until I found out today Devontae Adams not going to play. Well, it's possible he can make it.
I was going to say that they are saying now that if he can test negative, I guess, for 24 hours, don't quote me. Those COVID things got me all. So
it's twice.
Yeah.
Twice?
Yes,
okay, he has tested negative
twice.
Okay, thank you, Wanda. I knew it was something. I knew I was missing something there. But yeah, there is an outside chance he would play.
Please. And then there was another player of theirs that went out today. And it was
the Packers?
Lizard, was it Lazard? Who was it? I can't remember. Another one. And I was like, God damn it. I need them to win. But I think that's probably one of the best games in the league this week.
It is.
I think it's going to be really interesting.
And then I heard Nagy has COVID, and I think all the fans were like kind of happy about it.
Yep, he's got COVID. And I'm curious to see how that is, because they're all saying if the Bears win the next 2 weeks, let's say Nagy's out for 2 weeks, and the Bears win the next 2 weeks, holy cow, it's just going to be insane.
Right.
But that's how fans do, right? We won a game with Case Keenum, and there were people Friday like, we need to get rid of Baker, and I'm like, okay, y'all need to relax, and it'll be the same thing there. You win a couple games with a backup quarterback, backup head coach, backup whoever, and there's that group of people on Twitter.
Oh yeah,
gotta love my Twitter trolls.
Always,
who want to make
with their 25 followers that just chime right in.
Those are my favorites.
Me too.
I'm going to say this. I think the Packers win the Thursday night game. Wanda,
I love you.
Who wins the Thursday night game?
Oh, it's this Thursday night game?
Oh gosh, I don't know.
Oh, nice.
It all depends if the Packers get their cornerbacks and their safeties back fully healthy. If not, I think Arizona will
Don't be the Debbie Downer, Wanda. Don't be the Debbie Downer.
I'm sorry, you
pick who you want to pick, Wanda. Shut up,
because
Lisa.
I'm also a Bears fan. Why the hell would I vote for Green Bay?
I know, but come on. I need you.
No. He picked Arizona. Kate, what about you?
It's in Arizona. If it was in Green Bay, I would feel a little better about their chances. I don't know. I'm going Green Bay just because I think even though they've got 6 wins, that Aaron Rodgers still has a little chip on his shoulder about the grief we gave him.
Right.
We personally gave him after week 1 and that abysmal performance. That I think the Packers are the kind of team that will take pride in giving Arizona their first loss in Arizona. Either way, it's going to be a good game. I've been kind of excited with some of the Thursday night games this year. They've
been nice. They've been good.
They're usually dogs.
I hope it comes down to a Hail Mary with Rodgers.
Oh, Lord God.
Me too. I'll be asleep and you'll be awake having to watch it tweeted on the Archer Football Twitter account.
Right, exactly.
John hit it on the head. Rodgers will have 2 staff accountants, a paralegal, a pharmacist as his wide receivers, throw for 300 yards, and still a couple of scores. It's so freaking
If it beats
true.
the Cardinals, I'm all in.
Oh, Lord.
Throw the water boy in there, too.
All right, everyone. That is our show. Oh, my God. We so went over. But I warned you. I
Yes.
warned you at the beginning that we were going to go over our half hour. Have we ever done just 30 minutes on this? I don't think so.
No.
We just need to make it an hour show and be done with it. All right, everyone. We will be back again next Wednesday. Wednesday. Why did I say Wednesday? It's Tuesday.
Tuesday.
God, I'm
Well, you won't
Okay.
be back. You're not here next
I
week.
will
You're
be
not
here
here.
next week. No,
The rest
but
of us will
Connie
see you
comes
next
back.
Tuesday.
Lisa, Connie comes back next week. I'm very
Connie.
excited about that. Oh my God, forgive me. What's Connie's last name? Why am I blanking on Connie's last name? Because I just said Wednesday. My brain is out.
I just
All right,
call
so
her Connie. So
Yeah, Connie from the Jets. She was here earlier this year. We're going to come back and have her talk to us about her team
Carlson.
now that her rookie quarterback is
Carlson.
injured. It'll be good. All right, everybody. So we'll be back Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Central, right here. Follow us. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'm trying to get all this stuff in. I need to make a list and stick it in front of me. And make sure you like us on Twitter and join us over there on game day, as Lisa is our live tweeter on game day. So you can argue with her all you want all Sunday
all
long.
day long.
All right. Good night,
I'll be
everybody.
good Thursday night. I'll
Bye,
give
guys.
props where they're due.
She
I'll be
won't.
neutral.
She won't. She's a liar. Bye,
I'll be
everybody.
neutral.